Hello all, Gregorious here. Before I start this video, if you enjoy it by the end, then do me a solid and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And also follow me on Twitter for updates along with peeks at my art, writing, and other projects. For this video, I'm trying something a little different. I recently acquired my copy of Dying Light 2 on PS5. I'd have had it on release day, but weather apparently delayed its delivery. So that, combined with the fact that unlike all famous gamers, YouTubers, and or lazy teens slash adults living off of their parents, I have an actual job and have bills to pay. Granted, I'm also a teacher, so I have to work more to have what I need. Or you ask some people and they say we're glorified babysitters. Anyway, I haven't had time to do much in this game yet, only playing the first couple of hours, but I wanted to offer my views and impressions, share what I like, what can maybe be improved, just give my opinions overall. Okay, so let me start off by saying that I was a huge fan of the original Dying Light. I was even a fan of its progenitor, Dead Island, even though that game was very simplistic and is very dated by today's standards, namely in terms of its sci-fi channel story and grindhouse quality. What helped elevate Dying Light wasn't its story. No, not by any stretch. It was certainly as ham-fistedly C-movie grade as Dead Island. Or is it D-movie? Oh yeah, it's definitely D. It was a little bit better acted and less cartoonish than its inspiration. No, what helped Dying Light was its parkour element. It basically combined Dead Island with Mirror's Edge, two not so excellent games, and made the hybrid into a unique, fun, and unapologetically tense experience. Especially during those freaky night sequences. Holy shit! That didn't need an engrossing story or excellent graphics, though it was helped by the grainy filter, to draw you in. Even the combat, which was basically Dead Island 2.0 with a focus on melee and weapon repairs and combos, was passable. But the parkour, man, it was fluid and responsive then, though admittedly I died quite a lot from poor jumps or badly timed leaps into groups of ravenous undead. And well, they still are, mostly. It hasn't aged as poorly as I'd have expected, but it has aged a bit, though more from technical aspects and the like. Regardless, because of my love for the original, it can't be understated that I have been very excited about Dying Light 2. And now, even after just playing the opening hours of it, I believe my excitement is justified. Before I go into the gameplay, I'll talk briefly about the story. While you don't have to play Dying Light 1 to enjoy 2, I'll still do a little recap of what you need to know, and I'll avoid spoilers, especially since I don't know much aside from the original Dying Light story. And since that's a game that came out in 2015, if you haven't played it yet, you probably won't, so suck it up or skip ahead. We start with the Haran virus. Yeah, catchy name, right? It derived its name from its being unleashed in the Turkish city of Haran, turning much of its inhabitants into feral zombies that become more powerful in darkness. The GRE, or Global Relief Effort, sends in an agent named Kyle Crane to recover evidence of the virus's structure from a despotic madman named Rise, though Crane eventually learns of the GRE's plan to weaponize the Haran virus instead of trying to cure it. While the initial outbreak is contained following the GRE actually developing a vaccine and Crane eventually suffering a dark fate no matter what ending is chosen during the DLC the following, a sample of the Haran virus, now altered, escapes from a GRE lab. Those rascals. When are we going to stop believing shadow organizations when they say they promise they won't mess with things? This starts a global pandemic that wipes out the majority of the world due to the new strain not having a cure. 15 years later, we meet Aidan Caldwell, who sounds suspiciously like Kyle Crane. It's not the same voice actor, I checked, but I do expect Aidan to say Requiescat in pace while punching a volcano boulder at any time. Aidan is a pilgrim, which means he's brave and stupid enough to travel alone from settlement to settlement. Really, this just makes everyone sound like they're mimicking John Wayne when talking to him. Anyway, apparently he's hunting for his sister Mia, who thus far in my playthrough has been shown a few times in flashback. Hearing the name Mia gives me Resident Evil 7 and 8 flashbacks, for better or worse. And, aside from learning that Aidan had been mysteriously experimented on at a young age by the apparent villain named Waltz, and he's bitten pretty early on in the story, that's all I know. Let's be honest, though. The story so far is nothing unique, though compared to the original, I've noticed a more somber tone akin to Naughty Dog's The Last of Us games in this one, but it still doesn't feel authentic. Or maybe it's because I'm getting burned out on the whole sad zombie apocalypse. That's likely, but I can't say it's bad. I'm curious to see where it'll lead, but I'm not reserving high expectations or anything. How's the gameplay so far? Well, I can safely say that it felt like slipping into a comfortable set of clothes and was simply familiar. So far, it feels almost exactly like the original game, but with less rigidity and movement and more responsive controls. The parkour element, what little I've seen, feels as good as it did in 2015. The combat is still decent, though I do like how there's more emphasis with the blocking and staggering mechanic. This applies to the human combat, which requires precise timing that I still suck at half of the time, and the zombie combat is obviously more frenetic and desperate. There's a stamina bar like before, which I sometimes hate, but it's a layer that makes you have to pay attention to what you're doing. But I do hate how the stamina bar here can run out while you're climbing and you can, well, fall off. Makes sense, sure, but it gave me Breath of the Wild flashbacks. Come on, Link, you can't skip Arm Day! You have an expansive leveling up system like the original, as well as being able to craft, though from what I've looked at, the crafting system is expanded. I haven't gotten to the point of making or repairing weapons, but I know that's a feature, and I look forward to using flaming machetes or electric hammers to pulp some undead. Apparently, there are also projectile weapons and the grappling hook like the original game too, but not for me so far. Lastly, there's the pulse to find hidden items, which sadly I use all the time. I can't help it. Maybe I'm a little obsessive compulsive, but I find myself doing it a lot, and this footage shows. Look, I did the same in the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy, and with the Detective Vision and the Batman Arkham series, okay? Sue me. Now, the last things I want to touch on gameplay-wise are two new features, one of which I only know about and haven't experienced yet. New zombie variants and the biomarker infection mechanic. With the former, I know of the standard infected, the weird night zombies called virals that look like the vampire mutants in Blade 2, and demolishers, which I've seen in footage. But in my playthrough, I've come across some type of glowing, screaming zombie that attract other zombies. They're apparently called howlers, and they cause zombies in the area to chase you. I know there will be others, and I look forward, despite being a bit nervous, to seeing these new creatures and hopefully killing them before they kill me. And for the infection mechanic, well, I haven't seen it in practice during my gameplay. Aidan, though, was bitten pretty early on and is obviously infected and only helped by UV light, which apparently staves off the infection. But I've seen other videos and read up to know about it. It sounds interesting, especially with how it might be used in regards to the nighttime exploration, adding yet another layer of intensity to the experience. I mean, I say that now, and I'll probably hate it later in practice and feel like breaking my flat screen when I keep failing, but still interesting. As for the graphics, I mean, they're decent and much better than the original. They look passable on my PS5, and the animations, the backgrounds, the lighting are all decent, but it's certainly not the best looking game of this generation at all or anything. However, you all may or may not know my preferences and my love for older games. I don't care how it looks as long as it plays well and or draws me in. So, in summation, I look forward to continuing Dying Light 2. I dig what I've experienced. I mean, so far, I'm not enamored with the story yet, really, but the combat, parkour, and exploration is already shaping up to be a pretty fun and sometimes hectic time. Though I am a little nervous about the prospect of sinking so many hours into it, especially with other AAA list titles like Horizon, Forbidden West, and Elden Ring coming. Oh, adulting, where you can afford all the games but have no time unless you're a professional YouTuber, though I say professional lightly. But I know that no matter how long it takes me to complete it, I'll enjoy the gameplay side. And maybe I'll end up enjoying the story too. Okay, probably not, since I'm such a cynic and all. But who knows? Anyway, that's just my view, as brief as it is. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below your thoughts if you've played Dying Light 2. Tell me your experiences and thoughts, and I'll see you next time. Later.